Thank God that's over with. Well, guess no more twat in the hat. I mean, if he survived that, he's not going to be a problem again. It's not like that's going to come back to bite me in the arse or anything. Oh, come on! You!
Yes, me! That's bro!
But why?
You killed him, so now I'm going to make you part of my family and make you play these shit games.
Shit, why?
Because it's funny, and you killed my brother, you twat.
Yeah, but he deserved it because he was a twat.
He was my brother, I loved him like another brother.
Another twat brother?
Yes!
Oh.
He was one of the family.
Could I just not play the games?
No, tough shit now, you're playing them.
Ah.
You don't have a choice in the matter.
Well, what game's first then? It's Snow what?
Snowboarder from Phoenix Games.
But it's shit. Snow Rider is well, it's nothing really. I mean, in terms of what can be said about it, there's nothing. It's a bitch to record due to its age, but hey, at least it works. I mean, it is from that primitive before time known as 2006, and a lot of games from that era don't work as well as they used to when it comes to their PC counterparts, because you know the PC is so good. Then again, this isn't a game from 2006. It's actually really just an overglorified Flash game. Maybe this could have made it to retail in the late 90s maybe, or 2000, who knows. I suppose I can say this game is functional, because it is, and other than a few weird things happening like seeing seams in the sky or suddenly being horizontal for no reason, the game is probably one of the most competent things that Phoenix has put out. Which is tragic because it's nothing. It also has unlocks, but I struggle to know why. There's like 5 characters, and there's no reason to pick one over the other, as they're all just reskins of each other. And their stats, and I say stats in massive sarcasm quotes because there's no stat system at all, are non-existent. So, they are literally all the same character. There's 3 levels which, to give them credit, are all different, but what does it matter? They're all ski slopes. You've seen one, you've literally seen them all. There's 3 modes, and each mode has like 3 levels in which you have to play the mode in order to unlock that mode in that level, instead of just unlocking the levels on their own. I've played about 45 minutes of this shit, and the only real reason that that is the case is that the recording fucked up the first time. I gave this an additional 30 minutes after my 15-minute recording, and that fucked up. So I gave the game an extra half an hour, played it twice during that time, and I still have fuck all to say about it. This was a great game to start this marathon on, wasn't it? Combat Ace, not to be confused with Ace Combat, though let's be honest, that's where the title came from, because that way they could trick dithering grandparents into accidentally buying this shit for little Johnny, is a game about planes. Honestly, that's all I can say. It just dumps you in the game and you fly forward over nothing. Feels like some sort of tech demo or arcade game due to how barren it is. You have to shoot other planes down and not get hit by this fleshy kamikaze looking motherfucker. Seriously, where did they build that plane in Silent Hill? Anyway, it flies into the back of you like an arse. There's also this big ass plane that tries to take you down with it as well. And as far as I'm aware, the only way to avoid either of them is to tap R2 or L2 to spin out of the way at the right moment. It doesn't work very well though. Most of the time I just kind of accept death when it comes because, let's face it, death is what anyone would want whilst playing this. I guess the game is visually acceptable for a budget game at the time, but in all honesty the game feels like a clusterfuck. I didn't know where to look through most of it. Not that it matters much. If you get shot down, you just keep going until you run out of the over-generous lives that they give you. And they give you enough for you to make it through at least one level if you're trying on some level. Which I wasn't, but I still made it through anyway. Honestly, I played this for 5 minutes and knew that there was nothing else to be gained from this crap. It's just that awkward position of too good to be shit, but too bad to be anything else. I'd say that it sits on that below average line. In relation to Snow Riders, it's, well, Snow Riders was competent but boring, and this is incompetent and just nothing. Another nothing. Don't worry though, the next game, that one will offer more than this shit did. Unfortunately. I had high hopes for this game. What a fool I was. You see, I played this after finding my first Phoenix game that wasn't complete shit. And that filled me with hope. It was a game about a hamster, which I plan to cover later since it's an interesting talking point. Anyway, instead of getting something decent, I got one of the worst games that Phoenix has shat out. Well, one of the worst games that actually qualifies as a game. So the game is about an incompetent as fuck mole who falls asleep in his house and wakes up to find out that some fucker built a laboratory on top of his house. And he apparently slept through the entire construction. Is he on drugs or something? He has to go underground to clear his house off the creatures, as it says on the back of the box. Because of course there's spelling errors on the back of the fucking box. The game's memory card thing is awful, as it won't shut up and it just won't make a new save. It keeps hassling me about the old save that doesn't exist. Anyway, we go onto the menu and we get some rather upbeat and jaunty music. It's actually kinda nice, even if the vocals were chipmunkified. So I have no idea what the fuck to expect from this. I imagined it being a clone of the game Mr. Driller, but unfortunately I was way off. It's sadly not that advanced of a game. After 45 seconds of loading, we finally see... oh, Jesus. What the fuck? Oh no. I spoke too soon, it's such shit. Okay, so it's a side-scrolling platformer where jumping is fucking dreadful because you just come back to the floor as quickly as you jump. It took me around 30 seconds to make it past the first jump. The mark of a quality platformer, as most know. Maniac Mole makes this weird sucking noise whenever he jumps, kind of like he's trying to suck up random flies as he goes. In fact, this sound effect covers most of the things he does throughout the game. From jumping to shooting to... I don't know, I imagine he does this during every task he does in life. Maybe him sucking during every task he does in life is allegory to how much this game sucks. Jesus, look how bare bones this shit is. Look at the background. It has a gradient, sure, but if there's nothing on the screen, then it doesn't matter. There's a small pile of books or something, and a cartoon drawing of the outline of a city, and those untextured lamps, but this is a PlayStation 2 game. You need more than this. I mean, to give it credit, the stuff that's actually there looks decent enough. The model for the mole character is kinda nice, I guess, but it animates like shit. The collectibles also have a decent model as well. Animations are bafflingly bad. It honestly feels like an 8-bit game. The whole thing does, really, but the animations are honestly where this thing's crap factor shows. I encounter my first enemy and he looks like... okay. I also pass these weird chemical diagrams like I'm playing a shitty low-bit version of Dear Esther. Also, why do enemies explode into tiny fart clouds? Are they full of farts? I then encounter a mosquito character, and because I can't shoot for shit due to the horribleness of these controls, the mosquito kills me in one hit. Getting around this insect proves difficult. The shooting controls are so rigid it's impossible to take a shot that isn't just a random pot shot, and it only gets in your line of sight upon seeing you. So, the only way to deal with him is to jump up and down on the spot, waiting for him to swoop down and get you, so that you can have a shot. Of course, I'm so bewildered that I actually managed it, I end up dying immediately after. The jumping is a fucking pain in the arse. It's so stiff, and you never jump far enough, or high enough, or anything really, it's just pointless. So far, we've established that jumping is awful and fighting is awful, and that's literally all you do in this game, making it fucking awful. Seriously, this game came out 2 years after Rayman 3, and it's probably the worst platformer for being unresponsive and outdated I think I've ever played. So I walk along and, oh god, Jesus Christ! The fuck is that thing? So I start to get the hang of attacking these shit fly monsters. I mean, you can't exactly do it well, as the shooting controls can fuck off. I couldn't help but notice the score in the top right hand corner, and it made me wonder, why would anyone care about score? Who are you even going to be comparing this with? I mean, I made this entire video series to make up an excuse for playing this shit. I'm that ashamed. Why would I brag that I got 185 points in Maniac Mole? Anyway, I do the first level and he just fucks off. It was a great victory animation. Nice. Fucking nice. After around 30 seconds of loading, I go into this classroom stage and, well, the obstacles are a little more interesting, like these test tube pillars and the chalkboards in the background, and look, some texture on the walls. Oh, Hosanna, some effort at last. Honestly, I just watched this back to myself, and it makes me just want to stop. It's so boring, monotonous, and repetitive to watch. Playing it's even worse. I then jump onto this bottle and it sprays green gas in my face and kills me. And because I'm trying to kill the monster in front of me, I fail to notice and I die. This happens so many times because of the bullshit one-hit kill. I keep dying more and more because I care less and less. Honestly, this is the worst kind of game. It's not hard, not remotely. I keep dying because the control is shit and the booby traps are shit, but in all honesty, I could get through this if I put the effort in. I know it sounds contradictory, I know, but I know that me constantly dying really does look like a detriment to this claim, but I'm struggling because the game sucks. I'm sure I could ace it if I wanted to, but that is a pretty big if. So I eventually die and go back to the menu. I hate this game so damn much. I decided to give it another shot, and well, it really doesn't get any better. Why am I bothering? Why don't I just go and play the next game? No. I need to give this one a fair chance. If you die enough, your 15 lives come back. So, really, what you just do is die at the end of every level. And then that way, on the next level, you'll have 15 lives. Fucking brilliant game design. Seriously, where's the incentive to survive if you just get all your lives back for dying? Mind you, then again, where's the incentive to survive anyway? The game sucks. Maybe I'm going mad, but I swear these old people are calling me a little bitch. I I eventually find myself kind of stuck again, not sure if I want to die from the bottle of fuel or the mosquito. Honestly, this game is just so frustrating. It's far from fun or interesting, and I honestly feel like I said everything possible about the game and had enough footage to cover the whole thing in 10 minutes of playing it. It's that nothing. The game gets no less boring or frustrating as you go on, and to be honest, I don't even have the energy to be mad about it anymore. You get everything out of it in the first 2 levels, and by level 3, it's just so redundant. You know what annoys me the most though? The people who made this game, they were the same people that made that Furry Tales game. That console RTS with the furries that I said wasn't too bad, and was actually kinda good. It's the same people. Seriously, I know they can do better than this, and that's what frustrates me the most. Hell, visually, this game is almost as nice as that one, and yet somehow they fucked it up completely when it came to making a game. It's so frustrating and loud and annoying and honestly, I've just been waiting so long to slam this game, and I'm looking at it, and I have nothing to add now. The game is so repetitive that there aren't any new problems. I mean, it pisses me off how much the water hurts you during the level, but then in the end you just walk through it like it's nothing. But that's a nitpick, and when you're nitpicking, you know you've run out of things to say. Seeing that there's like 20 levels of this shit and I already want to die in real life after 3, I'm kind of done. Apparently there's 5 or so chapters with 3 or so levels in each one. And it's not like there's a story and cutscenes, and the story on the box is so shit that I don't care about it. Do I really care what enemies show up in later levels? Do I really care if the Maniac Mole gets his lab back? No. Do I care about the reskinned environmental hazards? No. So fuck it, I'm done. If you want to see the ending, feel free to buy this game yourself. Seriously, I've reached my bullshit threshold with this one. I do hope there's a hell for this game. I hope it has somewhere to burn when it dies. Oh, also, I did one of the boss fights, and whenever you hit an enemy, the screen flashes red like in Girl Zone. So, I hope, whilst it burns in hell, the devil rapes it with his barbed penis. I honestly don't know if I like this or the Nothing games more at this point. Fuck this game. Right, I'm done with that one.
Well, you're having a break, but you're watching Dalmatians 3.
That's not a break!
I don't care what you think.
You miserable fuck you monkey bastard!
Well, fuck a duck.
Oh, fuck. Dalmatians 3 is... No! Kinegger has reviewed this, you can review it too! I don't give a shit, fuck off. I actually have kept this in mind that this one has been covered by others. So, during my initial reaction, I inflicted it on Loz, so I'd get some unique reactions from a blissfully ignorant mind that I kinda destroyed with this shit.
Right, this is the one I needed you for because I've done like a few of these, but this one's been covered by this guy on YouTube, so I don't want to end up making the same observations or jokes as him. So I figured if I've got someone who's never heard of this piece of shit before to watch it as well.
Please tell me it's 2-player.
It's no player.
Okay.
You'll see what I mean.
Oh my god. It's boring already.
So, why start with Dalmatians 3? I mean, aren't I missing the nuanced story of Dalmatians 1 and 2? Why didn't I start with them? That's because there isn't a Dalmatians 1 or 2, and this is actually just a Dingo Pictures movie, which was basically designed to rip off every animated Disney dog film ever made, from 101 Dalmatians to Lady and the Tramp. There was a predecessor movie, but it wasn't called Dalmatians 1, and as far as I'm aware, there are only 2 of these in existence. I was initially confused because I skimmed the original and then realised that a lot of the scenes in the original were the same as this one. and I began to wonder if this was some sort of redub or something. It was difficult to determine what the hell I was even looking at. Turns out that Dalmatians 2 wasn't long enough, so they decided to tell a recycled animation story where they basically just did the same thing again, showing Dalmatians 1 from about 20 minutes in to about the end, which is fucking baffling. They did the same thing with Countryside Bears and the Waboo movie, although it kind of makes a bit more sense with this one. It's still lazy as fuck.
Child murderer! Child murderer!
This thing, like all others, was made by our friends the Code Monkeys, who I hope to cover more of their games later on in the future. Mostly to make people who hate people who review things that other people have reviewed sad. So the movie starts off with a bunch of dogs fucking around on a farm, and the cat, Charlie from Nice Cats, is a prick, and the dogs want to beat him into a coma. No, really, that's what they say. Like, they flat out say that they want to beat him into a coma.
One of these days, I'll beat him up so bad that he doesn't know who he is.
Oh yeah, I'll help you.
So the cat buys them a cake. Yeah, a cake. However, he stole Waboo's evil scheme, making everyone sneeze. Though I don't know what this stupid cat's laughing at. It's not like he can claim to be smarter than them when Waboo managed to trick him into catching sunshine. Hopefully he's learnt to curb his tongue since. Oh, and he jerks off. I think. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, then he runs off like this.
Nasty.
Whoa, he sure put a lot of weight on from all that running. Whatever the shit sense that makes. So this stupid bird fuck explains that the problem is that the cat isn't living in fear of his dog overlords, and that he actually decided to be a con man. I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me either. The crow also explains that the dog belongs to Pino, Sasha, and Lucy's neighbour. What? Pino? As in this fucker? No, apparently Dingo Pictures had no fucking imagination when it came to naming their idiot characters. So one of the dogs is named after the sentient cumrag from Toy's Room. The other is named after Anastasia's dog apparently. And the final one is named after the bastard cat's love interest in Nice Cats. Though, come to think of it, that's probably why Waboo treated him like shit, given that they both wanted the same girl, and why he moved here so he could perv on a different girl with the same name. I also don't get why this fucking film cuts to random animals laughing. I honestly think this does it more than any other. I could be wrong, but this is just so distracting. It's not anything new to me in this universe, but in this movie, random animals appear, laugh, and then disappear. Far more than any other Dingo film I've seen. It's like this is a shit horror game on Steam or something. So the next morning, they trick the idiot bastard cat Charlie into watching this hole in a tree, because there's a mouse in it. Except there isn't a mouse and it's empty. Then the cat stretches its neck like that, and fucking hell. I wish that thing was biologically accurate so it would be dead and we could go home early. Anyway, without any sound effects, a mousetrap snaps on his nose and freaks him out, and he runs around like that. And I'm just saying what's happening at this point, but it's hard to talk about this one due to there being a complete lack of dialogue or story up until now. Oh, and the mouse does this. I don't know. So then Charlie walks in wearing... Oh shit. Oh shit. Call the cops. Call Chris Hansen. I don't like where this is going. I don't like this ride. I want to get off. I just want to get off this ride, please. Anyway, the cat points out that in reality, dogs can't buy things from the market, and the dogs call him a conceited ape.
So dream on about your gingerbread. Conceited ape!
You know that doesn't really work as an insult to a cat, right? Because it's a cat. So they decide to try trading something for the gingerbread, like shit or something. I don't know. However, it's too dark out, as you can clearly see, so they decide to wait until tomorrow.
Where are you off to, Pino?
To find something to swap.
Tomorrow. It's too late today. Look, it's starting to get dark already. Pino agreed.
They turn up with a yellow ball, a bow, and a bone, and a leash. All that for a biscuit. Nice deal. I also like how the dog here brings forward its leash. Like, dogs can apparently just decide they don't want their leashes anymore in this universe. I guess prisoners can also just trade their shackles in at the local pawn shop as well. I guess they're just fashion accessories like chokers to dogs, who knows. So they rub it in the cat's face, prompting him to say, damn, which apparently is a bigger deal to American audiences. In Britain, every kid says that by the time they're 3. It's not really shocking at all. It's not even considered cursing or swearing at all in this country. It's actually pretty damn tame. So they eventually plod on down to the market where the cast of Anastasia rolls up, including male Stasia and his female counterpart, and Peter Dinklage turns up from Peter and the Wolf. I love this dude in the truck with the 3 pigs doing their head bobbing. It's kind of funny. So, dumb shit dog number 1 doesn't know what love is because nobody could ever love her.
No, can you read what's on that one up front?
I love you.
And what does that mean?
Just that.
And it's apparently the case that only Pino can read. Okay. So then this lady starts yelling because one of the dogs picked up the love heart and this dog gasps.
Huh?
But he's a man. And the woman gasps. It's broken as fuck, this cartoon. Then this cop turns up and at first it looks like the dogs can't communicate with humans, but they can. And they're basically arrested for picking up something in a store to bring it back to the checkout before buying it. Christ, this society really is racist towards dogs. You see middle class dogs like Brian Griffin crying about racism. This is the true hardship of dog kind. So, the 3 idiots get arrested for trying to make a transaction. Granted that they didn't use currency, but they were intending to pay for the item with goods. Items of value. That's more of a cultural misunderstanding than a crime, but fuck it. This racist cop has thrown them in prison and I can't really argue about it. Oh, this guy doesn't get arrested. He fucks off and leaves his mate to die. Or her mates. Or whatever voice actor it has now. I get why Penis had to run away in Toy's room. He probably would have been arrested for being a toy. Hell, he'd have been accused of every rape and murder in the city for being out after dark and sent to the electric chair. Then this idiot Crow just sort of gloats about their arrest and says that they know the dog's intentions but decides to keep it to themselves because they're an arsehole. Should call themselves fucking Jim Crow. So, Lucy gets back to the house and Charlie is a wanker, as per the usual, and laughs at her for being a crybaby.
Didn't have enough money, what?
Oh, stop it, Charlie. Can't you see that Lucy's not in a bad way?
Cry baby, cry baby, cry baby.
This bird's nice about it since he lost most of his family to Waboo during his lumberjack days.
Waboo, Swandiacs.
Stop that! Stop that at once!
Hey, this is fun!
Waboo! Our nest! Our nest!
Ooh, wow, it worked! Look, Wusher, this is the best bridge ever built.
Waboo! What have you done? Our nest was in the tree, and now our egg was in the nest!
Now our nest is gone, and our egg is surely broken.
And in only a few days, our chick would have hatched. Child murderer! Child murderer!
They were taken away in a car, police car.
Just as I thought. You didn't have any money and just wanted to steal the gingerbread hearts.
No, we didn't. We wanted to swap for my bow and Pino's ball and Sasha's doggy bone.
Actually not such a bad idea.
I love how the cat says, "Oh, that's not such a bad idea," After all, he was literally just told that the dogs were arrested for attempting said idea. Fucking idiot cat. Anyway, the fucking idiot cat gets his fucking idiot laptop and goes on the fucking idiot internet and looks for... Wait, there wasn't wireless internet back then. He's a lying sack of shit. It's not even connected to anything. Also, he looked missing dogs mere minutes or possibly hours after. Why would they put it online back when this shit came out? 4 people in this entire town probably had internet, and they were probably government buildings. One thing that I noticed about this movie is the lack of garbage area in the far corners. You might notice in some of the other movies that the background cuts off for a certain point, and a new background is joined into it on a border around the footage. They either cropped it out, or it wasn't an issue with this movie. In all honesty, I believe it's the former. Also, this crow needs to shut up. It offers nothing but a statement of the obvious, and it exists merely to pad out this runtime. We don't need a narrator to tell us that the dogs are in prison. We have eyes. I also have common sense, so I know that the fucking dog is gonna be scared of being in prison. You are a redundant crow. Piss off. Huh, I wonder what Balto did to deserve being locked up in here. Probably making his shitty movie, that's what. So then these idiot dogs start yelling over each other, and the Dalmatians are banished to the pen of idiocy, where they meet their fellow inmates, and this becomes a shit version of Orange is the New Black. Apparently their roomies knew their parents, and are equally as baffled as to why they're in prison as the audience is. Then these dogs yell together, and it does my head in, because they just make a load of noise.
What's going on? Silence!
Inconsistently, without any rhyme or reason. So this dog from Janice the Little Pig explains what happened in the last movie, and this is where I put 2 and 2 together and realised that this was some sort of sequel like Lion and the King.
I was also there. I had,
Yes, that's the way it was.
Yeah, that sums up the last part of the movie pretty well actually. Oh wait, no it didn't, because this thing goes countryside bears on our asses and shows us a recycled animation movie. This would honestly confuse the fuck out of anyone who didn't know this, and it's why Kid Icarus thought they'd shown the same movie twice. You see, there was a point to me redoing this after all. Oh, still handcuffed. They do this once, technically, as this happened in the last movie and they're just re-showing it because lazy. This was actually what confused the fuck out of me whilst watching it the first time, because I thought that this was some sort of rearrangement of the original movie. And in a way, I was kind of right. So we changed to this PS1 version of the movie, and well, it actually looks better because the colour correction isn't complete shit. One thing that's different here is that they seem to have redubbed the lick and stick scene. Originally it was glue and stick, and they didn't make any mistakes.
Licking and gluing, gluing and licking, licking and gluing. What's the matter? Do it faster. What's the matter?
But I'm thirsty.
It seems your last beating up wasn't enough for you, eh?
Please don't. I'm still hurt from last time.
You see, licking and gluing, licking and gluing, licking, gluing.
I had imagined that it was like that, but not quite so bad.
Lick and stick, lick and stick, lick and stick, lick and stick, lick, 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 lick and stick. What's this? Faster!
But I'm thirsty.
Your last beating wasn't enough, I see.
No, please don't. I'm okay again.
So, carry on. Lick and stick. Lick and stick. Lick.
That's the way I imagined it, only not quite so bad.
So we had to fix that by adding a fuck ton of them in. I think maybe this was redubbed, because the original lines were a bit darker. The puppy originally begged not to be beaten because it was still hurt from the last beating. Dalmatians 3, or 2 or whatever, actually just has him comedically whimper. I mean, the implications are just as bad due to the delivery, I mean, a child is being enslaved and horrifically beaten, but it's easier to overlook when, you know, it's delivered like this. This is also the company that put this lovely image in a children's cartoon, so what the fuck do I know? They also changed this narration, though it's not better. Initially it sent the crow on a stupid nostalgia trip of sorts, and now she's just like,
Nah, it's not so bad. I'm still not doing anything because I'm a piece of shit.
She also makes this fucking weird noise.
Take care of yourself, Grummel.
You might be thinking that at least Grummel is an original name, but it's not. It's actually what they called Teddy in Winky the Little Bear. For fuck's sake. Then this cool 90s hip dog reveals his plan to swallow his bollocks.
I just swallow that bollocks.
Yes, I know that's not my joke, but it legit sounds like he's saying that. Interestingly enough, the shittier looking dogs like this and the Tramp clone didn't make the cut for Dalmatians 3. Such a sad thing. I mean, the designers went through, what, 30 seconds of effort to make those dogs, and they never saw the light of day. So then the crow admits that she knew that the little dog would run away from home, and made no effort to prevent it because she's a bitch. Then this idiot gets arrested as predicted, but it's fine because the crow was actually sacrificing her so that she could see the dog type in the code to the door, and figure out that it's just a simple mathematics.
7, 4, 9. And that's supposed to be a secret code. It's just a simple mathematics. That's all it is.
Again, on the original dub, she actually said that it was a simple mathematical combination. And I don't know why they redubbed it to make it sound worse. Maybe they lost the original English dub and had to do it again? No idea. Why not just use the old footage? So then they have to count to realise that the idiot dog ran off into the night, and then the idiot bulldog fucks off. The crow just comments on it, of course, because, well, she's a wanker and possibly the true villain behind this shit.
Tupelchin smiled at him. He thinks he has to go and play the hero.
Now we're in a mess the way it looks. We not only have to free Timmy and Toby, but also Tupelchin and Butch as well. Let's get going.
Oh no, now it's getting really serious.
Professor Pollux?
Well, would you believe it? That was pretty fast.
Where are Butch and Tupelchin?
Oh, you mean those two burglars we caught last night?
I do like the discrepancy here, that the burglars were caught last night, but they knew the bulldog wasn't caught last night because they saw him about an hour before. But whatever.
Come and get them.
Okay.
So then the crow actually does something, and does the simple mathematics for them. After a moment of hesitation, of course, because she's too busy narrating current events. She's actually mentally ill, I swear to Christ. Then the dogs get caught in their own net, and it's revealed that this didn't stop them and that they were arrested. Anyway, the cat and puppy go looking for the idiot animals, and they decide to chase after the police car that's probably looking for Sasha, due to her attempted theft yesterday. It's at this point that I have to ask, how do two guys not get overpowered by their dozens of prisoners? Look at this bulldog! He alone could fucking kill them if he wanted to, but sadly, they're all too bloody stupid and just stared at the wall for like 5 years. Even when Tramp and the other ugly one keeled over dead, they still didn't think it was a good idea to escape. Then they insinuate that their mother sucked them off or something.
It better look like it was licked clean. Your mother was very good at that.
Lick and stick, lick and stick.
I don't know, that's what I imagine they're saying here. Makes it funnier. So the idiot dog sweeps whilst Charlie the cat observes and reports back to Lucy. And we finally get to see that he's the most useful idiot in the group as he throws a rock at this idiot bulldog, and we get the dramatic dingo sting as his skull cracks some more.
No!
So then the guards come and Pino eats the note before they can read it. Smart thinking. Now he has no food. So then they come up with a way to send messages to each other, like they're lovers in class. They don't think to say, throw rocks down on Castor and bollocks until they die and then just walk out the place, because that would be easy. Anyway, then the idiot cat drops a note down on them, again, and tells them to write a note back. Though he doesn't give them a pen, because why would he? But thankfully, one materialises out of thin air. Or maybe they pulled one out of another dog's arse. I don't know. They then realise that every building in the city has a secret passageway, including the dog pound. Apparently, Balto's owner used to be a building regulator or something, and... Wait, if he has an owner, why is he in the pound? Oh yeah, this is a dingo movie. Owners don't collect their pets when they go to the pound because logic doesn't exist in this universe. Speaking of which, the owner threw out all of the plans to the building in the city in the trash, so Charlie the cat goes after it and headbutts it, knocking it over, and frantically... Oh no. Oh no. This shitload of fuck film has stopped. It's not working. We'll never find out what happened to these idiot dogs. How tragic. Oh well, we got a nice beat at least. It was at this moment that Loz and I cheered for joy because this miserable piece of fucking shit was over. Loz then drew this lovely picture to celebrate. Honestly, I don't know if I'll want to ever review this fully. I mean, the second part is the same as the first, so it feels redundant. I might go back to it someday, but I think we've got the gist. I really do. Well, I've got another Dingo Pictures movie to talk about in this marathon, so hopefully we get to see that one through to the end. Right, enough of that. Not playing it anymore.
You're playing the Extreme Sprint next.
What the fuck is that?
It's a sprinting game.
By 3010, most countries were ruled by the totalitarian government, and they were in desperate need of brutal entertainment that would only fulfill people's wildest desires. Extreme Sprint seemed to be the perfect solution. Its rules were simple, yet it had a huge entertainment factor. The runner had to complete 3 laps in specially created stadiums, while he was chased up by the hunter. If the runner was caught, he disappeared and was never seen again.
You know, this was actually on the same disc as Snow Rider, annoyingly enough. Anyway, we start the game and you have to make a profile. It's not too bad entering your name with this system. It's kind of like the one from My Street, though I had to wait for a hint to tell me how to advance further due to the buttons being somewhat unresponsive. I will give credit where credit is due though and say that this was my controller at fault here, not so much the game. So, the game has this 25 to life motherfucker running around through an obstacle course, and the player has to avoid the many traps and obstacles to keep the runner's speed so that they aren't crushed by the hunter. Or the chaser, as it's referred to everywhere else in the game. You might notice at the back of the box mentions that the runner isn't seen again if caught by the hunter. Well, that sounds very ominous and mysterious, until you see that the hunter is actually just a giant bulldozer, and the most likely scenario is that they're flattened and ground up into little chunks. This isn't that Doctor Who episode with the Big Brother house. It's not like there's any ambiguity, you're just crushed. This game's concept kinda reminds me of those stages in Crash Bandicoot where you have to run away from a monster or a boulder or something. Except this is a whole game of that, and it's really fucking boring. The game has quite a bit of effort put into the environments, as far as detail goes. If I can be fair, it's not that bad, but it is all for naught, as the game still manages to look like arse, especially for the year it came out, which was 2007. Yes, this thing rivaled games like Resistance Fall of Man and Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Final Fantasy XII came out this year on the same console, and that looked way better than this. Well, actually, to be fair, the game was made in 1998, but they didn't make it a PS2 game until nearly 10 years after the fact. Go figure. The game is rather easy due to the generous amount of health you get. The unlikelihood of the hunter catching you unless you really fuck up, and the lack of damage or hindrance caused by the obstacles all add up together to make a very underwhelming and boring experience where you just lightly jog away from a very overbearing machine. Honestly, the game is just depressingly boring to play, running around in circles again and again with virtually no variation or surprises to save you from the trance that you'll likely slip into whilst doing this monotonous shit over and over again. Dive, jump, repeat. It's just incredibly dull. Not to mention the complete lack of motivation. You see, the sole motivator in this game is to survive. But that's not a motivation. That's an objective. There's no reason that you'd want to survive, especially in a world that's as depressing to look at as this. And according to the law, it's not like you're gonna go home to a nice place. The world's fucked. If I survive, what do I get? I get to go back to my life ran by a homicidal dictator. Gee, what a prize that is. It just seems like the best ending I can have is walking into the death machine. At least then I can escape this nightmare world. And that's pretty fucking depressing, to be honest. I actually did get to have a peek around the music and sound files on the PC version, and amazingly, the longest track on this bastard is 7 seconds long. Both of these tracks are on an endless loop, and they just make you want to pop your eardrums just how awful they sound. They do at least pretend to have more than one mode, but all modes feel the same. The only difference is that with the exploration mode and tournament mode, you have to do the standard mode for even longer. And fuck that shit, man. Honestly, the only entertainment to be had out of this shitty fucking game is to whack your head on these bars like they're a bedroom door frame, and then fall on your back and have your head crushed by the Miss Peaches mobile. Oh, and the game over screen is pretty damn funny after that. So, yeah, fuck this game. What else is there? Right, I'm done with that.
Next is City Soccer Challenge.
Fuck. Oh boy. Football game. A game that Loz and I used for our Matchday Season 2 finale. So the game is actually part of a series called Kids Sports, and in all honesty, these are actually pretty decent budget games. They're functional and have quite a lot of character going for them. I played as the Warthogs, or the Pumbas as I call them, and Loz played as the All-Stars, who like to go around warning kids about the dangers of drugs during their downtime. Criticisms for this game are kind of lacking, to be honest. I mean, it's not perfect, but there's not much I can call out on. I suppose one big noticeable thing is how the logos sort of overlap the versus icon on the loading screen. There's enough room for this not to be a problem, but whatever. As you could probably see, it's a rather unique looking game. If anything, it reminds me of the dodgeball minigame in My Street, in the way that you pass and shoot, and I kinda like that. All of the characters are kids with big heads, which again adds to the charm. The playability of this game is a breath of fresh air. even if it is just kinda hard to notice where the ball has gone at times. I'm not a big football fan, as you could probably tell, and I find these kinds of games more fun than, say, FIFA, because I don't care about the aesthetics like the players and the kits, and whatever else people like about PES and FIFA, so this is kind of up my alley. Though this is kind of a fun game, I couldn't help but notice it's the same as the ice hockey game that Phoenix also released, and is in the same line. Oddly enough, this wasn't released under the same brand for some reason. They made their own second brand just for the football game. I found scoring difficult due to a lack of a visual whilst trying to aim the shooting arrow. Half the time you can't see the net and you just sort of have to take a shitty guess. There's also this skill thing which I have no idea how to use, though I don't know what the hell it could possibly do that would interest me because the game's fine without it. To conclude, it's actually not that bad. It's pretty average if I can be honest, but I wouldn't say there's much wrong with the game, and the few problems that it has, well, it's pretty forgivable considering that it's a budget title. If Phoenix released more products like this, I think they could have been more like Midas Interactive, who weren't given nearly as much shit. Unfortunately, they also released a lot of shit. You know, like those Dingo cartoons, which is why everyone is laughing at them 10 years on after they went bust. Speaking of Dingo cartoons, we got a few of those coming up. So, I've kind of had to cheat with this one, because when talking about Mythmakers, I have to bring up its sequel, or spin-off, or however you want to see it. I wanted them both to be in the same marathon, preferably one after the other, and as a result, I decided that if one came up, then so must the other. Yes, Mythmakers is the only Phoenix game, not counting them Dingo Pictures ones that have phony ass sequels, to get a spin-off or a sequel. Actually, it technically got both, as I found out, and was even ported to Nintendo Wii along with the title Pixie in Toyland, although that also had a PS2 release. So yeah, quite the accomplishment for a budget game published by Phoenix. You can tell that Data Designs Interactive, the company behind this, and those kids' sports games, which were also pretty decently designed as well, both in aesthetic and as games, both had quite a lot of thought put into them and heart. Well, except for the gameplay on some of the kids' games, since they all basically played the same. But honestly, all of them playing the same and being the same competent game is better than something that just didn't work at all, or something that didn't belong on a PlayStation 2 like Combat Ace. Honestly, if Phoenix only published games from these people, I doubt that they would be the joke that they're seen as today. Anyway, Mythmakers is a Super Monkey Ball clone, much like that hamster game that was also kind of good. Unlike any of the other pretenders seen in the Phoenix library, I actually feel as if some elements of this are done better than the original. I'll get to that later though. One thing that I like about this game is that it's brimming with its own personality and charm. The characters are like chibi versions of various holiday and mythological icons like Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and Cupid. I guess you could sort of compare it to Percy Jackson, from what little I understand of that story's universe. I get that each character has a connection to a Greek god. I've never had anything to do with that franchise, but that's the gist of what I got from it, and this is kind of like a kid-friendly version of that. It's more or less what this is. Each kid has a different power due to its connection to an entity, holiday, or myth, as the name implies. There's 8 characters, each with a different look, but from what I gather it makes no difference as to who you play as. Although there is a lot of characters, and I appreciate that. For a Super Monkey Ball clone though, you really only need 4. In fact, 4's pushing it a bit, but this is a part of the problem with the game. The artist and the creative people behind it had clearly made a better brand than a game. I actually found the blog of the guy who made the art for the games, and was supposedly involved with the development. And Christ did they care about this. They spent 3 or so years coming up with and building the concept to make it perfect, and the artwork is pretty damn good as a result. It's clear that these characters were meant to have a bit of a personality behind each of them, and unfortunately in their initial setting of being a single player Super Monkey Ball clone, the characters don't get much time or opportunity to show off their personalities, and as a result they're more or less just concepts attached to player models, which is kind of sad, because I would have loved to have seen them get a chance to shine and bounce off of each other and deal with certain situations. Needless to say, the go-kart game is a much better setup for them, due to them being able to actually communicate with one another and express themselves more, both aesthetically and verbally. I was hoping that this would have some sort of opening cutscene. Even if it was just a slideshow, it could potentially be better than the nothing that we got. So the actual game is a Super Monkey Ball clone, as established, which spans over 5 environment types with 5 levels in each environment. The environments themselves are actually well detailed, and unlike the actual Super Monkey Ball Deluxe, it has actual landscapes like this. This actually tries to make a cohesive environment, and I personally like that a lot more. This is something that Super Monkey Ball Adventure did, and it's why that game looks significantly better. The design, however, is fucking frustrating, and in all honesty, I don't get far into any of the levels. The paths are simply too narrow, and you just end up rolling off the edge. Instead of building up momentum and whatnot, they instead make it feel like you're on a tightrope whilst drunk, and it's awful. The gameplay is literally rolling around in a ball and just falling off the edge. Honestly, it might be doable, I'm not sure, but there's something wrong with this game that makes it bloody impossible. It has fuck all as far as the camera control goes, and this makes it impossible to see where you are or what you're even doing or going to walk into. Seriously, I can't make a coordinated run or jump if I can't see what I'm jumping at. So much of it is just a shitty guess or a leap of faith, and in some instances, you're 100% fucked over by the dodgy camera. The only control that you have is being able to zoom in and out, and even that is just pointless, as zooming out fucks up your perspective of the track, and you end up just falling off into the abyss. Though, the levels look nicer than Monkey Balls due to them not solely relying on nice CGI backdrops, they're just unpleasantly difficult, and in some cases are bloody impossible. I'd prefer this to be too easy and fun in all honesty. Still, it at least feels like a budget game with some actual design behind it instead of shit like Girl Zone or Maniac Mole. Maybe a Super Monkey Ball veteran could do this, but I certainly can't. Hell, they might even enjoy the challenge. Me though, I gave it my best shot, and I could beat 3 out of 5 of the introductory levels. There's a tutorial which is available, but when you go on it, it gives nothing, and just more or less gives you a bunch of piss easy levels to clear that aren't remotely representative of the ones you'll deal with later. Except for the last one that can outright fuck off. I feel a lot for this, like I did with Fairy Tales. With Fairy Tales, you could see that someone tried to make something good for a budget price, and even if that fails, they tried. Which is more than I can say for shit like Girl Zone, where it's obvious that nobody gave a fuck. Honestly, I wouldn't protest to this franchise making a comeback, having another attempt. I don't feel as if it was rejected by the public, more that it faded into obscurity. Personally, I think that if you were going to make a Mythmakers game, you're best making a Rayman Origins style platformer. That would be perfect, where the art and music can come to life and they take priority, and you can make some pretty nice levels around it. I could also see a good RPG game coming out of this series, like an old Final Fantasy. Shit man, you can make that in RPG Maker and sell it on Steam these days. I mean, it's not like there's any fucking quality control stopping you. I feel that the Super Monkey Ball style of the game does it no favours, and in all honesty, I look forward to the third game, where we can see if it holds up in any way, shape or form. Just so nobody thinks I'm trying to misinform them, I believe this game came out after the Orbs of Doom game, due to this coming out in 2004 and the other one coming out in 2003, according to the back of the copies that I own. But I've seen many conflicting things in this regard, so at this point, it feels like a chicken and egg scenario. I'm going off of the sense of this being a spin-off to an established franchise, which will probably bite me in the ass, but I just want you to know that I did think this through. So the Mythmakers characters are back and are in more of a fitting setting, where they can finally communicate with one another and can show off their personalities through both their vehicles and also as a kart racer who actually talks. This is a way better idea than the Super Monkey Ball clone, if I can be honest. It is a bit bog standard, admittedly, with the speed boost power, the shield, and the rocket launcher, and the mine ability. It most certainly is functional, which for a Phoenix game is pretty damn good, but in terms of it standing out as a kart racer, it really hasn't got much to write home about. Every ability in this game you've seen before in a kart racer. It does have its fair share of problems as well, like I can bounce off into the distance for no bloody reason at times, and I did find it unfair that when I tried shaving off a bit of track, it knocked me on my arse. Despite the fact that there was plenty of shortcuts around the map for you to exploit, some of them just don't count for some reason. You also have to unlock half of the cast, and that feels very arbitrary. I know that character unlocks are a thing that took years to go out of fashion, and it does give you an incentive to play more than a mere 10 minutes of the game, but it annoys me to no end when a well-established character is inaccessible for seemingly no reason until you do something to warrant access to the character. Mind you, if this was made by fucking Namco Bandai 10 years after the fact, you probably would have had to pre-order to get half of these characters, so maybe it's not that bad after all. Each character has a special ability that is locked away until you do the time trial mode. This is actually explained in narrative, since one of the prick's minions has stolen it and you have to do a time trial with each character to unlock it. I guess it's acceptable for an unlocked story, but again, I just don't like unlocks. Honestly, this is probably one of the best games that Phoenix has put out, and it's definitely the best Mythmakers game that I've seen thus far. For a budget price, you can get a decent enough kart game with multiple maps and potentially hours of content. Not recycled content either. There are quite a lot of maps, there are lots of characters, and there are actually a lot of modes as well. In all honesty, I think what would have made this a lot better is if all the characters from the Orbs of Doom game were available from the start and the unlocked characters were the villains, because they already have character models in the game. So you could just make them playable characters quite easily and give them abilities and whatever else, and it would be worth unlocking them because we've never played these characters before in any capacity. There's actually a lot of heart in this, and I'm actually looking forward to playing Trixie in Toyland. I was hoping to play it during this marathon actually, but as I said, it's not a Phoenix game, and I feel that that would be kind of violating the one bloody point of this horrible marathon. So fuck it, it'll get its own episode on its own terms. Honestly, I had to debate as to whether or not I dedicate a whole episode to kids sports ice hockey, but it's the exact same shit as City Soccer Challenge. Seriously, it is the exact same game, but it's ice hockey. So I think instead of that, I'll be taking something from the backup list that I made for this and playing that. So, what was number 8 on my backup list? Ah yes, Mouse Police. Is it too late to go back to talking about the game that I've already talked about? To my surprise, Dingo actually bothered to rip off the rescuers. Much like with Nice Cats, nobody knows why they bothered to rip off one of the lesser known Disney movies from years before Dingo even started making films, but, oh well, fuck it. Gives me something to talk about that I haven't covered before either. Great. We start off in this terribly drawn golf course, and we immediately see that the art here is worse than most of the others that we've covered thus far. Our two main characters look identical, and are more or less gender bends of one another. And like Hunchback of Notre Dame, the fucking golf course looked like it was made by a child.
So, Max, how many points are you behind?
Shut up, Charlie Gouda. Anyway,
I just love that hasty line delivery, proving that it's never too early to fuck up. So Charlie, the newspaper fuck, why is another character called Charlie in this shit? Oh well, fuck it. We can add him to the pile of identical cats and random gloves that the writer found on the floor that are also called Charlie in these movies.
don't worry, I'll show you.
Holy shit! Well, keep on searching. Bye, Lauterbach, cheese news.
So the blue mouse proves that he's a shit golfer, and Charlie goes back to selling his papers under the recoloured blue bird thing from the other Dingo films.
This time you get the ball.
No way, I'm wearing my new pants.
So what? Is this blue mouse arsehole worried he'll shit himself on the way to getting the ball?
And if I don't get it either?
Then you have to pay for it. Pay for the lost ball. I'm broke.
So by this point, it's established that Mickey Mouse has at least one character trait. He's a shithead. So Minnie Mouse has to get the ball. Fuck, this is depressingly dull. More so than that shitty Toy Story knockoff where it ended with everyone realising that they'll never be loved again. So she crawled through a hole and found this pink dude tied up and gagged in a grove of some sort. I'd assume he's just here for some sort of gay orgy and just leave him to it, but apparently this is an odd occurrence in this town. You can tell this is set in Germany. This is pretty normal in England.
Max, come quickly.
Oh, so it's okay for Max to dirty his new pants now? Fuck you, Max. You're the worst. Look at his stupid face. So I originally thought that this dude was supposed to be dead or something, but then he immediately snaps out of it in the next frame.
I could have frozen or died out here of hunger. Quick, untie me. I must go to the police immediately.
Untie yourself. Your hands are free, you stupid dick. Also, how would you freeze to death out here? It's like summer or spring at the worst. Were you that worried about a freak snowstorm getting you, you daft pink shit?
To Uncle Theobald?
What happened?
You wouldn't believe it, but I've been robbed. How could such a thing have happened to me?
How could such a thing have happened to me? I've made my, whatever.
When I can't even watch a crime on TV without being scared to death.
Wow, a real robbery. How cool.
Oh, nice. Your uncle, boyfriend, whatever he is, was mugged and left for dead, and your response is cool? Go fuck yourself, Maximilian. So they waddle after this truck as reasonably fast as possible.
It was here. I truck it was here when I was robbed.
But there are line tracks. Look.
I don't think we should go any further. Maybe the robbers are still there. We'd better get the police.
Okay, I just have to talk about this Willy guy. One, it looks like Mickey Mouse's head was sewn on the body of a Great Bear character. Seriously, it's Mickey Mouse with a mustache. What is with this guy's character design? Why are his pants so ripped up? He's meant to be camp, so why doesn't he look after himself? Isn't looking nice part of the whole camp personality thing?
Then you do that. Max and I will check out the situation.
They have a lot of nerve.
So these idiots go looking for the criminals, alone and unarmed, and actually stumble upon the van.
We have to be quiet.
It's empty. Everything's gone. They didn't leave a cheese crumb behind. Oh boy, Willie's gonna be mad.
Oh shit, not Willie getting mad. The wrath of the campy flamboyant ice cream man will be terrible indeed. So then this rat policeman officer drives up to them and...
Hands up!
Uncle Theobald.
It's just us.
Well, what are you two doing here? Go home immediately.
But, Uncle Theobald, we're the ones who found Uncle Willie and his truck. We're important witnesses.
Well, in that case, well, that's something different. Well, I hope you haven't touched anything.
No, of course not.
Well, they certainly cleared everything out. There's nothing left.
Holy shit, I can actually see what they've done now. Look at his head. He's a seal. They actually used a seal's head on some other creature's body. This guy's just layers upon layers of just fucked up. He's like the surgeon from Human Centipede's wet dream. Also, why is his head black but his body's grey? Could they not even be asked colouring his body in right? So, this reporter turns up and the police officer comments on her promptness to the scene, where she informs him that she's written everything he said down and now just needs a photo of them. What's the article gonna be then?
Favorite? Oh.
Please look friendly.
Ah, Speedy Allgäuer, the speedy reporter, you again. You never miss anything.
I've written everything you've said. Now, all I need is a photo of you all.
Extra, extra. Read all about it. Officer acknowledges journalist punctuality.
No, please be patient. Willie will be here any moment with the cheese, okay?
It's okay. He'll get in here in a minute.
Oh, thank fuck they used a different crying sound than that annoying baby shriek from Toys Room and Hunchback. Fuck!
Frau Anja!
Oh no, not you as well. You can see that no one else can fit in. We're waiting for Willie. That old dozy mouse is late again and I'm going to give him a piece of my mind when he shows up.
You sure you've got any of your mind to spare?
You can say that again. He's getting more and more unreliable.
But it's not his fault this time.
Willie has been robbed.
Eh? What do you mean robbed?
I mean, he was at his ballet recital pretending to be a swan. What the fuck do you think I mean, shithead?
Oh, cheese.
I don't believe everything that these kids tell you. They're just trying to pull our legs.
Okay, so you assume that the kids are automatically lying? Why? If you don't want to believe them right away, that's fine, but wouldn't you want to call someone or look into it just a little bit? No? Okay then.
But...
Extra, extra, read all about it. Daylight robbery on the cheese transport. Extra, extra.
Fuck off, stupid news rat.
Give it to me.
I thought you were broke.
There, now you see that we weren't lying. There's even a picture of us in the paper. Look, read it.
Wait, so they thought that Willie's character design was so good that they did it again and added a different tash and glasses. Oh, Jesus. So they give Max and Pansy the chance to validate their story, even though it's more than possible they lied about everything that the article said. But no, if they didn't lie whilst reading the article, they couldn't possibly be lying.
It's unbelievable, a robbery in our peaceful town.
No cheese. I have absolutely no more cheese on the shelf. Just this piece of hard Parmesan.
Oh my, what am I gonna do now? I can't eat hard cheese, I've got no teeth left.
Oh, shh, baby girl. Maybe Frau Angie still has a cheese lolly for you.
We could try it with the piece of Parmesan.
That makes no sense, Frau Angie. Baby Belle will just spit it out.
Yeah, because that was the only problem with what she said. A cheese lolly being Parmesan cheese is really the only issue with that concept.
There's a reward. to be had. Come.
Are they meant to be brother and sister? I get the impression that he really wants to screw her. Mind you, they are mice, so I guess that would be more acceptable in mouse society. I mean, you know, mice and rats inbreed a lot. In fact, that's a very good explanation as to why everyone in this film's a fucking idiot. And why they all look so horrible.
Yes, I understand. Of course, it's quite right, so... Yes, he'll get everything he needs.
Uncle Theobald!
What's wrong? They've taken the case away from me. That was a call from Minster, and they say they're sending a commissioner here to take over the case.
I guess his transparency with the press just didn't sit well with the higher-ups.
Finally, something exciting happens, and I'm not allowed to solve the case.
Did he just say...
Wait, what the shit is going on here?
Here I thought that only the fine folks at East West would use such hardcore language.
But what are children doing here at the police station? They're important witnesses. Without them, Willie would still be tied up in the bushes. Very well. I'll question them later. Now I'd like to see the scene of the crime. You can accompany me. No, not possible. I have to man the telephone and wait for clues from the townspeople. It says so in the paper.
We can accompany him and show him everything.
Oh, very well. Even Sherlock Holmes had assistants. Come along. I'm not going to work my legs off when they've taken me off the case. Let him get on with it, Commissioner Chester. Big city cop. Ha!
What warranted the wah-wah there? Was it at his expense? Or the detectives? I mean, nothing silly happened like someone passing out due to overwhelming pain. I don't get it. Do you even know what a magnifying glass is used for, Sherlock fuckface? Idiot.
Just what I thought. It all points to the Rocky Rockford gang. That's the 7th robbery in 7 days.
How did you come to that conclusion? You found literally no evidence that says anything about anything.
Principal, and leave a sign of recognition behind.
So, these guys just leave berets behind as a calling card. I hope the dumb shits didn't wear them first, or else they're leaving DNA evidence behind, as well as making themselves easier to identify.
Oh, look! There's the ball. Can I have it?
No way. The ball's an important piece of evidence. It has to go to the laboratory for inspection. Now you go on home. I don't need you around here anymore.
Wait, what? The ball is evidence? Evidence of what exactly? Why send that to the laboratory and not the beret? I think he's planning on shoving it up his arse. I mean, what else would it be evidence of? The fact that they are in fact witnesses to the crime?
What on earth is that?
Just a cheese kebab. Baby Belle must have thrown it away sometime. Just leave it there.
But it's totally fresh. Smell it.
You're right. Frau Antje hasn't had cheese this fresh in her shop for days. You know, this must be from Willie's delivery.
What do you think? Should we take it to Commissioner Chester?
Rubbish. After all, he kept our mini golf ball. Maybe there are more clues.
So, these idiots decide to keep the evidence hidden from the police while sniffing around each other's feet. Apparently, mice spray the scent of cheese on their feet and probably have cheese-flavoured condoms as well.
Can you smell it? Smells cool, hey? Camembert Chanel.
No, it doesn't smell like camembert. What I smell is something rather cheap, at the most Limburger 3711.
Maybe it's your feet.
Oh, I don't need deodorant. My feet smell like cheese anyway, even without deodorant.
I also noticed that our heroes have tails in some shots, but not in others. Which is pretty dingo-y, I've got to say. Anyway, Vault Boy here is apparently tripping balls and is running around in circles like a bell end.
It's one of them. Do you see him?
Rubbish. He just looks like a normal jogger. He doesn't look like a robber.
Uncle Theobald says that robbers seldom look like robbers.
That's so? What if he says so?
If he's a harmless jogger, then we can easily just walk up to him.
Well, I don't know. Maybe. What I mean is, I'm not all that sure.
Coward.
So the two idiots decide to just approach the dangerous gangsters in as few frames as possible.
Good day.
Can't want to get away from these pests anywhere. Go on, get lost.
So they discover that he's basically a dick, but he didn't murder them, so he's acquitted of all wrongdoing. That is until he's seen eating the cheese, and the idiots realise that dodgy drug dealer Rat must be in on the evil scheme. So then, I'm not even sure anymore, but I think this Rat is meant to be a failed athlete or something. Maybe that was a joke. From what I understand, this movie suffers greatly from having a cultural barrier due to a lot of puns being made that only make sense in the German version. So Max manages to break into the evil guy's hideout, and apparently they don't know or care how many members of their gang they have, so they just let him in. So they end up in fucked up perspective land when entering the tunnels. Most of the entrances and exits are just painted on, and it's not like we don't know that they're not going to walk straight anyway, because directions are for people with bigger budgets. Anyway, they get attacked by bats, which are probably more akin to harpies in this universe, since bats are basically rats with wings. Anyway, they both reach the inner sanctum of the cheese robbers, after some awkward as fuck animation. I originally thought that they had bothered to do some reflection in the water on the floor, but then I just realised that it was actually my screen tearing. Yes, my screen tearing makes better animation than this film.
Well, I'll be a real robber, Stan.
Oh wow. Look how happy this place looks. And the nice western saloon music that plays in the background just totally makes this scene. Did someone use the Gary's Mod Fizz gun to feed him then?
Everything ran smoothly again today.
Oh good, prostitution. Just what every children's film needs, a damn whore. We then find out that the operation is going on in some dude's basement without him knowing, or maybe he's complacent in this whole thing. Who knows? So their plan is to import this German cheese over to Italy because these guys are mobsters, as this guy's faux Italian accent suggests. Apparently the guy who hired them either hired them immediately before the deadline, or these dickheads have been fucking around for months on end in some schmuck's basement. Also, I'm pretty sure that you can get cheese in Italy. I'm pretty sure you can. Like, mozzarella at least.
Real Italian cheese for this stuff here.
I understand them. I prefer a real Limburger myself.
You have no taste.
Stop quarreling! A sheep will dock at the secret door this evening when it's dark. And then bring the cheese on the board. When you've loaded the cheese, we'll celebrate.
There's more of that breaking into song dialogue again. Oddly enough, this is the same voice actor who provided every single voice in the toys room. Maybe it's just a habit he never broke.
Come on, Sophie, we've seen enough. Let's go and inform Uncle Theobald.
So then this dipshit's eyes go all demonic and she screams because she sees a spider. Seriously, some stealth operative she turned out to be. Oh no, they caught Idiot too. How terrible. How did he even catch up to them? And how is he so casual about it all? Bah, no matter. I only care about the fact that Maximilian got away and we have another 12 minutes of film left as a result. Damn it, Maximilian, couldn't you have dragged your feet for the good of everyone? What the fuck's happening to her? Is she trying to flash phase through his hand or something?
Nearby.
So then this Vault Boy rat turns into a horse. I don't know. And he has a go at this fat fuck for just letting any old fucker in. And getting them found out. What's the point of having a doorman that just lets anyone in? He might as well work cybersecurity at Sony.
Nope, nothing to be seen.
Oh, well. But in future, if you don't recognize the voice, keep the door closed and call us. Do you understand?
Smart ass.
Man, this movie is fucking hardcore. You can tell that this is the gritty crime story and not the cutesy adventures of a little raccoon. So then Maximus bumps into the camp mouse and spills his guts about everything, whilst Minnie Mouse and Lederhosen Mouse just stand there grinning. We then cut to the criminal sex dungeon, where Sophie the mouse, whose name I've only just learned because I swear this is the first time I've ever heard it spoken by another character, is tied up and ready to be presented to the highest bidding paedophile. Or something, I don't know.
No away, miss. You know our secret now. What shall we do with her, huh? What shall we do with this girl?
What's clear to me is that you need to do some pauses between your words, because nobody can understand what you're saying, ah? I think that I should put my cigarette out in her eyes and pop her ears so she can't eavesdrop on anyone again. Oh, is that too dark for this crime story? Stupid face. It runs in the family, doesn't it? Eh? So this lady has a bunch of spiders in cages that don't honestly look like they're in the right place. I also love how she holds it. Clearly they aren't meant to be in the same place, like, both in terms of sharing a universe and perspective.
Set them free. You wouldn't do that. I won't survive it.
You're not supposed to. No, you're not supposed to.
I'm pretty sure you would survive an attack from a group of non-lethal spiders. From what I can tell, Germany doesn't have many or that many dangerous breeds. I do love how these guys turn into fucking reservoir dogs at this point and start cackling at the child's fear and peril. I was hoping to see her get eaten alive by spiders to a jaunty pop song, but sadly that doesn't happen. But don't worry, I can fix it.
Da-da-da-da!
Sadly, Max couldn't save her in those 4 seconds that she had to spare, and she died screaming. Man, this shit just got dark. I honestly won't be surprised if they had killed her off at this point, looking at how she was almost shot earlier, and other adult things have happened in this shitload fuck of a film. Honestly, this might be the best Dingo film I've seen since Wabu the Axe Murderer.
That's impossible. A robber's den in my cellar. Are you quite sure?
So, let me just process this fucking shit. You're telling me the criminals have been stealing cheese from the cheese vendor and hiding in her basement under her premises this entire fucking time and she never noticed? How the fuck is that possible?
To Sophie.
And Commissioner Chester's looking all over for berets. It could be ages before he does anything.
I do love how they dismiss the police as useless when they haven't even clued them in through this whole thing and have actively gone around hiding evidence from them this whole time. Anyway, Willie goes to barricade the criminal's sex dungeon in a few frames as possible to make it easier to smoke the criminals out. So, they move the bookcase and take the key. The way she described it, it made it sound like it was trapped in another dimension or something, but it's just hung up on the wall. Anyway, they see her slowly being eaten by the spiders, and they decide that it's too late for her and just leave her to a destined fate. Oh wait, sorry, that's how it would have been in my head after I nodded off. Instead, they open the door and...
It's all right now, Sophie. Everything's okay.
Oh, apparently their mere presence scared the spiders off. Also, weren't they actually on Sophie before? Like, all over her? Did they just decide to take a few steps back or get bored of terrorizing her and took a smoke break? I also love how this spider looks like he's part of the support group here. This lady ain't having no spiders in her basement and cleans them up, sending them back to the off-screen dimension where they belong.
Over, gang.
Have no fear, Sophie. Willie's barricaded the secret door. Now we just have to collect the commissioner and Uncle Theobald.
I'll call them up immediately.
That'll not be necessary. Willie was more sensible than you and informed us already. Actually, you two should get your behind spanked. But, well, I have to praise you. Good work.
Yes, good work hiding evidence from us and taking up a life of vigilantism. Very good. Oh well, the only punishment for such a crime is a spanking anyway, so they got off pretty lightly, getting some half-hearted praise. Anyway, the dumb rat criminals get arrested, and everything goes back to normal. The baby mouse finally becomes a real demon, the mice get their cheese, and the reporter gets to write a story about how nobody said anything to her as she took their photos and left. Oh, and these two have to go to bed at 2 PM for being little shits. However, they're going to go to Italy as their reward.
Extra, extra! Rocky Rockford gang caught by Max and Sophie Emmental. Extra, extra!
Come on, Charlie. Give me one. Max and Sophie Emmental brought Rocky Rockford's infamous cheese gang to justice.
And, as we've been informed by Inspector Chester from Munster, the two will receive a trip to Italy, the motherland of cheese, as their reward.
Off to Italy!
Cool! Us two against the mafia!
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure what to think about this one. Judging it on its merits as a Dingo film, it's not the worst. There aren't any mistakes that I can remember in the audio department. Most of the dialogue makes sense for the most part, and the swearing honestly makes this one of the more amusing Dingo Pictures movies to sit through. It also has an actual plot, albeit a clumsy one, though considering that Dingo have no idea what the fuck they're doing most of the time, it's pretty much what's expected at this point. The department where this movie suffers the most is the visuals. The backgrounds look dreadful, even by Dingo standards, and Willie's character design is just ugh. Not to mention either that the animation is either choppy, lazy, or flat out insulting in moments. Like the objects flying into characters' mouths because they were too lazy to not make it look terrible, and characters teleporting across the screen because the animators couldn't be asked making a walk cycle for them. Honestly though, I like this one more than the Toys Room. It's not as depressing, and there's more than one voice actor, which is a welcome change in anything, and its ineptitude makes it far more fun and enjoyable than Hercules or Mulan. Mulan. My previous worst game, huh? Well, say goodbye to your #1 spot on the shittiest games list, because you've really met your match this time. Well, that wasn't even the worst of the Dingo movies, but it had the guy saying shit in it at least.
Well, I saved the best till last. Cartoon Kingdom!
What the fuck is Cartoon Kingdom? Cartoon Kingdom is not only Phoenix Games' shittiest game, Not only is it the shittiest game on the PlayStation 2, but it might just be the shittiest game of all time. You know those dingo pictures and stock-ass movies shown alongside slide puzzles and colouring crap? Well, it's that, minus the movies. Yes, it's every single slide puzzle from several dingo pictures things put together onto one disc. I wish that I was kidding. So we're introduced to this cartoon drawing of a jester, and fuck me, I didn't think these things could look any uglier, but they managed it. Usually CGI abominations look worse than cartoon ones, but these arseholes proved me wrong on that. Good job. Look at this fucker. It looks like he hangs around conventions all day and waits for furries to leave so he can rape them. So it loads up with some slightly different menus and intros than before. I say slightly different, and we're given the options of Atlantis, Dalmatians, Crazy Bears, Mouse Patrol, and Toy World. Oh, fuck. Honestly, I'm only familiar with 4 out of 5 of these films. I haven't seen Atlantis, but it's apparently boring as fuck, so I've not missed much. I have seen Crazy Bears, but I've never seen it with that title. It's known to me as Countryside Bears and Winky the Little Bear. I definitely want to cover it one day, as it was one of my favourites to sit through. So I go for Mouse Patrol. I would say it's because I knew it would be in the marathon, but no, I recorded this in 2016. I guess I highly regarded it way back then.
Well, I can pick my poison. Toy World, Crazy Bears. I'll go for the one I hated the least.
Oh yeah, I did. So there are some icons that I recognise here and some that I don't. I recognise the tile puzzle, the matching game, and this other thing, all of which can fuck off because I've already attempted them once and I never want to touch them again. So, I'm only going to be focusing on the individual minigame that this thing offers, that you can't get on the other games showcasing the films. After all, this is the content that those films were sacrificed for, so it's what matters. You might notice a complete lack of sound. That's because they don't give a fuck. I guess it has noises that are made when you move your cursor around, but that's the most you can expect. So you dot to dot the mouse. Fucking hell. I found out very early on that if you get it wrong, the game doesn't tell you, and I couldn't find a way to go back. I didn't try very hard, to be fair, but this is a company that had to release a whole new game to add a back function on their paint program, back in the days of PS1. So, why would I assume that there is an undo button? Anyway, I click this one, and this is the only game of interest on the disc. Not even kidding. This is the most interesting talking point on this entire thing. It's so exciting that this jester wanker has to fuck the shit out of this podium just to calm himself down. But yeah, it's a fucking dress-up game. Dress your dingo friends in a way that will make them hate you. I decided to make this mouse a cross-dressing policeman because I hate him. Of course, I was done in under 10 seconds, and there's no way to save your progress. Not sure what the hell is the point in this if you can't even save it, but then again, it took me 10 seconds, so whatever. You can also dress up the Dalmatians, but they look nothing like the Dalmatians from the cartoon. They're too well drawn for that, and the boots don't belong to him, so they look like shit. You can also put a saddle on him, so I gave him a pink one and a slingshot that cool 90s dog wears. Oh, and I made him the 11th Doctor as well, because fuck it. There, perfect. Then I do the Atlantis one and get a naked boy. Nice. Really, really nice. I don't know what it is about the Code Monkeys and naked children in their games, but I'm pretty sure something terrible happened in their offices once. Anyway, I gave him a pink crown and a nice dress and a nice skirt. Fuck this game. Then I finally got to dress up the best character of all, Penis. So I made him look like a mall Santa who's in between jobs. He was a banker and now he's homeless. Fuck this game. Then I dressed up this stupid brown bear who wasn't even in Countryside Bears. Fuck this game. I then do Simon Says. It's shit. Fuck this game. At this point, I've got nothing else. Seriously, fuck this game is all I can say. Because fuck this game. Who fucking charged money for this? Who greenlit this to be put on the PlayStation 2? Why did Sony license this? This isn't even good enough for Steam. Someone charged money for this. Someone bought this. I got this second hand, so somebody bought this. This game is a piece of fucking shit. And it's the worst fucking game I've ever seen. Seriously, I don't know how Sony allowed this to happen. I don't know how this was burned onto a CD. It belonged on a website. Or better yet, in a bin where it couldn't harm anyone. So yeah, fuck this game. You inflicted that cartoon fuck up on me.
I did.
Why?
Because I love seeing you suffer for making me suffer.
Yo, I will break you. Uh-oh. Fuck. No. Fuck. You miserable bastard. No. No. You fucking bastard. I'll kill you like I killed your miserable shitload of fuck brother. No, you won't. God. Things I have to fucking do for this show. What? God help me now.
Mash up the place, turn up the bass and make them all have fun. How we ablaze the fire, make it fun them. We mash up the place, turn up the bass and make some sound, boy run. And we will end your week just like a Sunday. We mash up the place, turn up the bass and make them all have fun. Skrillex ablaze the fire, make it fun them. We mash up the place, turn up the bass and make some sound, boy run. And we will end your week just like a Sunday.
Wait, what am I saying?
Should we have like a red doomsday sky? And like dead grass. Oh wait, that's kind of shit actually. To be honest, this whole game looks like shit. So. And then have red water. It's already whirring like fucking crazy. How all the plant life just completely dead.
We should let a child play this game. Well, watch this game.
I should just take this to work and like, hey kids, wanna play a game? And they're like, oh god no, not one of your games. You know what, I'm gonna have a pink fence. Oh fuck. Fuck a duck. That's dead. That's dead. Everything's dead. Everything I want to be dead is dead. What colour can the tree be? I don't know, let's give it green bark. There we go.
Yay, fungal!
And they live in a fluorescent pink house. Purple shit. Well, this is dog shit, isn't it? Imagine paying like £8 for this as a kid. Like getting it home and opening the box. There's snot in the windows. Also, there's no dog shit brown, ironically. Despite the fact that this is a game about dogs. Dog shit. Ah, and there's no undo. There we go. Look at that. Masterpiece. Fucking masterpiece. You know I can't even save this. Like, no save feature at all in this entire disc. Because this is 1990, what, 3, right? We'll have a pink windmill. Everybody's gone to the shitter. It's like everybody's gone to the rapture, but everyone's gone to the shitter. There we go. Fucking masterpiece that.
I'll take a picture of it on my phone.
Got it on the capture card at least.
But I'm gonna take a picture of it on my phone. Masterpiece.
Actually, I'll have black clouds. There we go. Fucking beautiful that.
Help me. see a little cumrag running around here. Apparently he was walking around by himself in our street. Can't have that shit going on in our town. We're gonna find him. We're gonna fill him full of holes. The streets will flow with cum.
Teppich fliegen, das ist logisch. Hochprozentig, ökologisch. Macht nicht Lärm und nicht Gestank. Braucht nicht Motor oder Tank. Auch nicht Funkgerät und Tower. Wer Teppich fliegt, ist einfach schlauer. Mein Teppich fliegt gut, 100 Sachen. Kann Kurven und auch Loopings machen. Braucht keine Hupe, braucht kein Licht.
Top of the morning to you.
Might have to adjust it to the shot. Oh, you're not in the shot.
Anyway.
This is fun. Trying to make it look like it should be inflicted. That cartoon kingdom came on me.
Good. So it deserves inflicting my brother's death on me.
But your brother's death doesn't even compare to that game.
I bet it does.
No, it doesn't, because that game's far worse than the death of a family member. I've seen people who were fucking witness to the whole family being burnt alive who weren't that traumatized.
So.
Fuck.
I diddly do.